We're about to begin the services for Mr. Aaron Lewit. If any of you have a cellular phone or any other type of noise-making device, please ask you to turn it to the off position. Officiating our service here today will be Rabbi Barry Schechter.
Mizmor David, Adonai, mi Yaakov Alecha, mi Yishkon behar Kodshecha, Holech Tamim, Ufoil Tzedek, V'dover emet bilvavo, Lo rakal leshono, Lo asal re'ehu ra, V'cherepah lo nasa al kerovo. Nivze beinav nimas, V'et yerei Adonai echabed, Nishpal hara v'lo yamir, Kaspo lo natan b'neshech, V'shochad al makil lo lakach. Azele lo yimot li'olam. God, who may abide in your house, who may dwell in your holy mountain, those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who do not slander others or wrong them or bring shame upon them, who give their word and come what may do not retract, who do not exploit others. Those who live in this way shall never be shaken. Dear friends, we're here for a sad and difficult occasion, to say goodbye, which is always the most difficult thing we can ever do, but especially so today. But also to pay tribute and to honor the memory of Aaron Lewit, the son of Julian and Sylvia, Aaron ben Yankel V'Sibla, was gone to his eternal rest much too early, and leaves behind a family and friends who loved him very, very dearly. His sister and brothers, Andrea and her Marty, Eliot and his Karen, Douglas, nephews and nieces, Kelly, Karen, Howard, Chris, Rebecca, Ryan, and their families, and their children, and the next generation, the great nieces and nephews, the great nieces and nephews. I should also mention Norman, of course, they were very close, whom Sylvia married afterwards. And a lovely creature called Chochki, Douglas's dog, whom, do I say whom or which? I'm not sure. We've got trouble with pronouns nowadays. Well, actually, that's a relative pronoun. But anyway, Aaron played with Chochki, really was very, very fond of Chochki, and it was mutual. The affection was mutual. Now we're going to begin by hearing from the family. So I'm going to call on niece Karen, where's Karen, to speak to us about her Uncle Aaron.
My Uncle Aaron was the most gentle and kind man I've ever met. From as young an age as I can remember, he and I had a very unique bond. When I was little, he used to come to my house and sit at the kitchen table with me to make origami. He would always refer to me as his special niece. To many, Uncle Aaron was a very quiet man, but I think I brought out a different side of him. Whether it was in person, on the phone, or through email, our conversations were endless. He was beyond generous and thoughtful. As a child, I remember celebrating my birthday and Uncle Aaron bringing the most beautiful card and sheet of stickers, being that was all he could afford at the time. I knew he could have used the money to buy himself something, but he cared more about seeing the smile on my face. He was a giver and really loved to see other people happy, especially on their birthdays. Birthdays were a holiday that should be celebrated, in Uncle Aaron's opinion. He would always take the day off work and celebrate his birthday with Illuminatis and cake. His joy in seeing others happy and taking care of others never went away. When Todd recently had his accident, Uncle Aaron called me every day, at least once a day, to check in and see how I was doing and how Todd was. He was very concerned and wanted to offer any emotional support he could for me. Uncle Aaron took a lot of pleasure in helping Mama. He would take her to get her hair and nails done or to her doctor appointments. He helped keep her vibrant and young. As everyone knows, Uncle Aaron was an amazing piano player and singer. He used to sing for the high holidays at synagogue, which he took a lot of pride in. When Vanessa was little, he'd sit at the piano and play with her. He was so impressed when he heard her sing at Mama's 90th birthday. I'd like to think that Vanessa got some of her musical talent from him. Uncle Aaron is truly a gentle, sweet, and thoughtful person who meant so much to me. His email address was Think Positive Aaron, and it really says who he was. He taught me to always see the positives in any situation and be kind to everyone. Although he was taken way too soon, I know that he and my grandma Florence are somewhere singing together, just as they did at all the family gatherings throughout the years.
And now we're going to hear from Eliot.
That was really nice what Karen said about Aaron, and it was a beautiful tribute. Thank you. I never really had thought about this, but I guess I was his best friend. He called me a lot, and certainly enjoyed my talks with him. He would call me depending on the day. Hello, it was always, hi, almost singing, hi, Eliot. And then he'd say, happy Monday or happy Wednesday, depending when he was calling. And he would always tell me I'm in my black. He had a black easy chair downstairs. And he said, I'm enjoying that right now. And he said, I'll be here for about 10 minutes. And if you don't call in 10 minutes, that's it. So he always kind of gave me a little time frame, how much time I had to call him. And then we'd talk all sorts of things. Aaron was a very private person. He had a wonderful collection, though, of statues. He really liked Greek mythology. He had statues. He had a really nice clock collection, and through the years I've collected antique clocks, and so we would really just go back and forth about clocks. And he would like time. Favorite books of his were like Time Machine, and so clocks, I guess, were always important to him. He was very generous. When my birthday came, I got present after present after present. It just, about the 4 or 5 days in there, I was always getting a present of something. And so certainly he was very generous with that. And he really, you could tell, spent the time to pick out a present that he thought that I might enjoy. He was kind. He was sweet. I think you'll hear from everyone, whether it's right now or just talking to family members later. Over and over, it'll be gentle and kind. Over and over, you'll kind of hear that because that's truly what he was. And my wife Karen brought to my attention as well.
which is true too, how non-judgmental he was. He took people as they were. And although I may be a half-glass empty type of person and I might grouse to him about this or that, invariably, I heard it all the time, we all do the best we can. So in other words, if you're not in their shoes, give them a break. And that was always so important for him. Aaron struggled with life. I think we those of us who knew him knew that. But he certainly deserves, and I'm certainly sure, at least it's my belief, that he now is under the embrace and love and peace and happiness of God. And I could just hear him singing his operatic melodies from the rooftops now, and it will be beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliot. And now, Andrea.
Okay, tough to follow both of you. Very, very touching. You both said, and that's true, Aaron was a kind, compassionate, gentle man. He was a talented singer, a talented pianist, and a writer, very talented writer, who unfortunately was never able to reach his full potential because, like you mentioned, Eliot, he just struggled with a lot of things. But those that knew him can still hear him say, "Oh, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I love you." So it was very thoughtful. Aaron's fingers would dance over a keyboard, whether it was a piano or a computer. I wish that I could do that. So if he were here, he would have written the most touching and eloquent eulogy, far better than anything I could say. So instead of my saying anything more, I'm going to conclude this with his own words and songs, so you can get a glimpse of who he really was. His niece Karen was nice enough to forward me something he had sent to Karen a couple of years ago after the occasion of my mother's birthday. So I'm going to read you what you wrote, and then you'll hear him. Forgive me, the writing is very small here. It was sent January 21st, 2020. So, and I'm going to read it with the way he emphasized certain things. "Hi, Karen. I really enjoyed listening to Vanessa singing at Mama's birthday party. She has a very sweet, lovely musical voice and obviously is very talented. I don't know if you ever told Vanessa that I sing professionally or that she's ever heard me sing, but if she hasn't, I thought I would send you and her an MP3 recording of my singing." The link is at the bottom. Which I recorded about 4 years ago. I still study voice, and actually my voice teacher has told me that I sound much better now than when I made that recording. That recording is actually Hatikva, which is Israel's national anthem. When I made that recording 4 years ago, I used it as an audition piece for a singing job as a professional lead baritone. I was hoping to get a temple at a temple for the high holidays that year. When I sent the recording to the music director, she got back to me and offered me the job. He was so shocked, but he was so good. He didn't realize how good he was. She was impressed and told me my singing was very beautiful. I sang opera, Broadway, and show tunes, and even some popular music. If Vanessa has never heard her Uncle Aaron sing, please forward this email and MP3 recording to her. So I wish Vanessa much success with her own beautiful voice, musical talent, and singing. He always was thoughtful and complimentary. And it was so wonderful to see you, Todd, and the kids at the party. As always, you look so pretty. And your kids are growing up so fast. I can't believe it. You have a wonderful family, and I'm so happy for you. Thank you also for helping out with Mama's party. I know she and everyone had a wonderful time. Love, Uncle Aaron. And now you're going to hear him.
Hi, this is not easy. My sweet Aaron, as you know, I'm the mother of the son with the beautiful singing voice. And I want Aaron to know that I love him dearly, always have. He's been my angel. And the Jewish word for angel is a malachal. And that's what he was when he was first born. He was a good son, talented, loved singing, played the piano beautifully, gave me so much pleasure. But I want Aaron to know wherever you are that I love you, that I will miss you for the rest of my life. And I can't believe any of this is happening. He loved ordering groceries for me, taking me to places where I wanted to go. He lived with me for, maybe several years, and I got to know him. He loved the arts, and he was a good, kind person. And Aaron, I want to thank you for everything you did for me. Made me so happy to have you. I think this is a nightmare. I don't believe this happened, but wherever you are, stay happy and stay well. Love you so much. And thank you, everybody, for coming.
We've heard these wonderful, beautiful tributes from all of you, which have been heartrending. When I came and spoke to you the other day, I was struck by the words that you've repeated again and again about his gentleness, his thoughtfulness, his kindness. Being born, you told me, on the west side, but you lived in Rogers Park, he went to Sullivan High School, and then he was a music major at DePaul for a while, and he played the piano beautifully, and you heard that he, normally if you audition for a choir or a solo, you don't just send in a recording. You send in a recording and they say, thank you very much, will you come in on such and such a day, and will you sing these things, and then we'll consider it. That's how it usually goes. So he sends in one recording, they say, fine, please, come, we want you. We need you. Because, as you know, and as you heard, there are some people who are just born with music and in music. The music goes through them, and they go through the music. It's in them. It's a natural thing. Of course, I know that he took lessons to get even better with Mr. Norby, Richard Norby. Is he here? Is he here? No, he's not here. No, but he was friends with him and his wife, with Roberta. He was also, by the way, friends with Dr. Wuthers, with his dentist. He became very close to him. He told me how he sang in the Chicago Loop Synagogue downtown. He was in the choir there. He sang Kol Nidre there, Cantor Königsberg, other cantors. He sang for the high holidays for Beth Israel, the synagogue in Skokie, where they had this at Evanston Township High School. And he sang, of course, in the choir with this person to whom he was so close, this wonderful, wonderful musician, Judith Carson, who was who had this beautiful choir. So music was so much a part of his life. You also told me, and I loved what you said, Andrea, about his skill. So if I go like this, it looks like a piano, but if I just change it slightly, it's a computer. And he was so skillful. He could make music on the piano and make you feel good and make you feel wonderful. But he loved doing research on the computer. He would do research. He'd order things as well. I know you don't like Amazon for good reason, but honestly, Amazon, if they had a sense of decency, would have a representative here today, because however well they are doing, they would be doing far, far worse if not for Aaron. I shall be in touch with him about this. He was very interested in politics, in world news. He was, as we all are, appalled at the rage and the anger and the destructiveness and the violence which we know and which we see in our world. And he, being a particularly sensitive soul, I think was even more cut to the quick about this because he felt it. He was someone who really felt things very, very strongly. I know that, Andrea, you were his big sister. You took him to Hebrew school at Ezras Israel, where he had his bar mitzvah. Andrea, I think you migrated from there, you yourself, to Temple Menorah. Douglas, you had your bar mitzvah at Ezra Habonim. I don't know if anyone else did. Anyone else? I don't know if Eliot. Eliot, where was... Sorry, yours was at Ezra's Israel as well, your bar mitzvah. I know that you told me about his clocks. And I learned this today, that you would exchange information and expertise about clocks. He loved cuckoo clocks. And I asked you, how did he become interested in clocks? And you told me that his favorite movie of all time was The Time Machine. The Time Machine. And at the beginning of the movie, you see in scientists' homes filled with clocks. And from that moment on, he was not just interested, I think fascinated by clocks and collected them. But not just clocks, as you mentioned, beautiful things, objets d'art, many of which I saw in your home. You told me other films that he loved. Oh, by the way, in addition, in arts, he loved origami. He loved this Japanese skill. He also enjoyed, he seemed to have loved certain kinds of science fiction. The Day the Earth Stood Still. Maybe he wanted to stop these clocks for a bit. The Twilight Zone, he loved to watch. He was a man who loved to celebrate. That's what I've heard from you, to celebrate. He would celebrate not just life, but holidays, any holiday. July the 4th, Hanukkah. I asked you what foods he liked, and you said most of them. I asked you if you liked traditional Jewish foods. He did. Matzah ball, soup, kugel. He also liked the food that's not particularly Jewish, although a lot of Jewish people like it. Pizza. You mentioned Lou Malnati's. There was a Chinese, there is, I think, is this Chinese restaurant still there in Highland Park? And he loved talking to the owner, to Wendy. They have long, long conversations with her. And the number of times when we spoke, you, Sylvia, used the word beautiful. Beautiful. He worked for a while at Jack Lynn, which is a beautiful store, and sold beautiful things. He was very neat. He was very tidy. Everything was in its place. And the music I mentioned was not just when he was singing or he was playing. He was listening to others. If you were in his car with him, what was the station that was on the radio? WFMT. So this is a thread that runs through his life. You told me he also loved his last car, his the last car that he owned, the white Ford Fusion, which he took great care of. You know, in the world that we live in, I almost don't want to mention the world we live in because we're discussing someone who's a beautiful human being. The world we live in, there is some, unfortunately, worship of a certain kind of strength, which is not a strength. We read about, we see on TV, on social media, we read about people who are powerful, who do things, who change things. And we're often called upon to admire such people, even if they are insensitive, even if they're boorish, even if they have very little heart and very little feeling for others. And here you have someone who is exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite. He's actually tender. He's tender, even almost fragile. But he celebrates life. He celebrates birth, not just his own birthday, which was a yontif for him, but other people's. He rejoiced in your good days. If you had a birthday, this was a thrill for him. You heard that you get present after present after present. Or when he didn't have that much money, you'd see that he gets something else. And you'd love it because of the thought that was in it. And these qualities that he had, the love of beautiful things, whether you see them or you hear them in music, and the love of other people, and making other people feel good. You know, you said about his email address. What was it? Yes, the word positive is in there. Think positive, Aaron. Think positive, Aaron. He's giving you a lift. He's lifting you up. We all need that, especially in the world we're in now. We need to be lifted up. We need to be uplifted. Because when we look around, you know, when you watch what's going on, you can go into the deepest depression. And then you have someone like him, and you hear him singing, or you see him playing, or you hear him playing, and he celebrates with you, he rejoices with you, and he makes you feel better. He's one of those people who makes you feel better. And if I say this, it's almost redundant to say it, that the world needs more people like that, like him. We need more people like him. And honestly, we need fewer of some of the other people that we see. But never mind that, just more people like him. And if I say that the world would be a better place if there were more people like him, there is no higher praise than that. You heard how reluctant he would be to condemn others, right? He didn't judge. What did he say? We all do the best we can, right? If you're criticizing someone, we all do the best we can. There's a saying in Pirkei Avot, in the Ethics of the Fathers. It says, "Al tadin et chavercha," do not judge your fellow human being ad shetagia limkomo, until you are in his or her position. Don't judge. That's the beginning. Al tadin, don't judge. That might have been his motto. That could have been his motto. So, I know what an awful, frightening day, nightmarish time this is for you. And I wish I could ease the pain that I know you must have. I would know you'd have it even if I didn't set eyes on you. But words cannot do this. You know, when you have something that happens that is not just sad but unbelievable, and sometimes we feel wrongly, that we have to berate ourselves in some way for this. And I ask you, I beg you, not to do it, or if you're doing it, know that after a while, these feelings will become less. They will become less. I know it's difficult to believe now, but I'm telling you they will. And you have each other. This is a family. Look at this. Look at this. I didn't have time to mention the next generations. There's not time. Look how many of you there are. Look how wonderful that is. So be with each other. Support each other. You need each other and you have each other. Support each other until time will help. I know it seems impossible now. It seems impossible, but time will help. It won't take away the grief. There'll be scars there. There'll be scars, but it won't pull down on you as it does now. We have a saying in Hebrew, Ma she'ya'aseh hazman lo ya'aseh haseichel. What time can do, the mind cannot do. And we can't accelerate it. We can't say, right, I'm done. No. You have to, in a sense, let it go on. And gradually, it will abate. As I say, not go away completely, but get a little gentler. So be kind to yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Love each other. And in that way, you can go on. And so as we say goodbye to him, and you ask me if I would step over, Sylvia, I'm going to go. You asked me if I would go here. I will. No, it's okay. I'm doing this for you, Steve. I'm doing it for you. So we're saying goodbye. We're saying goodbye to the physical person. But we're not saying goodbye to all the wonderful things that he brought into the world. Because that can be part of our lives. So remember that. This man was a teacher. He taught us something, not everything, but he taught us something about how to live decently, and how to have feeling, and how to have love. And he didn't have an easy life, but how to be positive. Think of that. Just think of that. So those go on in our lives if we let them. So let's try and do it. I'm speaking to myself as well as to you. I'm speaking to myself as well as to you. Of him I say, Tehei nishmato tzrura b'tzror hachayim. May his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. And to him I say, Aaron, lech b'shalom, geh in Frieden, go in peace. Habalechtigen Gan Eden, may your repose be in paradise. You will never be forgotten. You will always be remembered in love by those who knew you and loved you, and those whom you knew and you loved. Amen. We're going to read the 23rd Psalm. Do you all have these little pamphlets? Do you have them? Yes, would you take them out, please? And let us read, if you open it up on the inside page on the left at the top, the 23rd Psalm. Please read with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Could I ask you to stand, please, if it's possible? If it's difficult for you to stand, stay seated. And could I ask those of you with the ribbons to come and stand near Sylvia, and I will come and cut the ribbon for you. Now we're going to say a bracha for, to begin, that's every bracha does, but at the end there are two words which I would take. Sylvia, why don't you sit down for a little bit? You have a seat, yes. El male rachamim, shochein, b'meramim, hamsei menucha nechona, tachat kanefei ashina, b'mahalot kedashim otorim, k'zorak yemasirim, et nishmat Aaron ben Yanku v'sivu shalach liolamo bavu shenach nod mistak v'yaraskarat nishmato began eiten v'yemen muchato lachein balarachamim yastireu b'seit kenaf liolamim v'yitzeror B'tzrorachim et nishmato. Adonai hunachalato v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament, under the soul of Aaron Lewit, the son of Julian and Sylvia, who's gone, who's entered eternity, and in whose memory we offer charity. May his repose be in paradise. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated.
This concludes our service here in the chapel. The interment will take place immediately afterward at Zion Gardens Cemetery, 6758 West Addison Street in Chicago. Following the interment, the family will be sitting Shiva. Shiva will take place from 2 to 8 p.m. this evening at the Price Residence, 3904 Sunset Lane in Northbrook. Please note that the family has asked that memorial contributions, Mr. Lewitt's honor and memory, be made to the Ark Chicago. That address is located on your folder. Please also note that going in procession with the family to the cemetery, please make sure you obtain an orange funeral safety sticker. That sticker will be placed in the front passenger side window of your car. We will also ask that you have your bright headlights and flashing hazard lights on at all times. For an additional measure of safety, our staff will be placing magnetic flags throughout the procession. As we drive in procession today, please drive as closely as safety permits, specifically as we go through intersections. Please limit your utilization of your cellular device. We want to avoid any large gaps or spaces in the procession. At this time, I would ask everyone, if you're able, to please rise while Mr. Lewitt is escorted and the family is escorted from the chapel. Thank you.